Oh yeah, we gotta break that one down. Pooh Shiesty's new album has that dark Memphis sound all over it, and I have some unreleased sounds that are gonna be perfect for this. So let's hop into the breakdown. The first thing we started with was this piano melody right here. Very simple, repetitive, dark piano melody. Just two bass notes and a simple arpeggio. The preset here was the go-to piano from the Memphis Essentials kit. Every sound I'm going to be using in here is from the Memphis Essentials kit, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel, you have the demo kit, all that, so that you're on the waiting list so you know when this full kit drops, because it's crazy. I've added so many more sounds. Every sound that I've used in this beat is from the Memphis Essentials kit, aside from, like, I think a transition element and a crash maybe. But the rest of it is all from the Memphis Essentials kit. So, yeah, a bunch of dope sounds. You're going to hear them throughout the breakdown here. But on the piano, we have a tone flex, and it is using the subtle piano sauce, which is a preset that I created. And it is also included in the Memphis Essentials kit. If you have tone flex, you'll be able to use that. So that's on there. And then on the Black Magic, I'm using the Ghost engine. Doesn't look like I used an actual preset. I just messed with the knobs until I got where it sounded good to me. So that's the processing on the piano. The next sound I added in was this augmented strings. Again, very simple, plucky sound. And the augmented strings preset is the string plucks. I made the preset in augmented strings. That's why it's not coming up as Analog Lab, but it will be in the Analog Lab bank, and it will open in Analog Lab when you use it. Just that preset didn't exist before. I made it inside of Analog Strings. The next thing I added was an Augmented Brass. And the brass is kind of buried. Keep in mind, we're cutting all the low end out. We bring that up. That preset is called Hard Brass Preset. Again, didn't exist before making this beat, so I made this preset. I put it into the kit, so it'll be in the Analog Lab bank that comes with the full kit. After that, that's the melodic elements. The only three needed really. Very solid combination of sounds for these Pooh Shiesty type beats. Piano melodies are like the key element most of the time. Strings, good accompaniment for a good counter melody. And then brass just adds some more weight to it. And the only changes I make is in the verse section, I drop the top octave of that main melody off. I bring the strings in halfway through, and it's a simplified version. I just took some notes out, like every other note, basically. And then, yeah, at the end of the verse, I bring back in that top line, but I take the strings back out. So the next part is adding the hi-hats and the snare. So this is using the money hi-hat. And the snare is the default sound that loads up with the Memphis template 1 from the kit. Hi-hat, nothing special at all. Simple two-step. Really all you need for these type of beats. You can do rolls and stuff, but for this one, didn't feel like it was necessary. The snare pattern, if you drag out the basic snare MIDI that comes in the drum kit, you'll get this, except I took off the last hit that would be over here. So the second 4 is a little different than the first. And that's just for, snare roll. So then we can add in the kick. The way I do my kicks, I just letting it play. I add them in where I feel like they fit. And you see the first 4 bars is a little bit more open than the second 4 bars. The second 4 bars, I really drew inspiration from, I believe the song's Bigger Than the Program. They were really just spamming these triple hits on the kicks you hear right here. They did that a bunch in that song, probably more than what I would recommend. But doing it every other, set of 4 bars, I think works very well for this beat. Copying that kick pattern over to the bass, we get this. This is the Demon Bass preset. You just copy those kicks over, move them to the correct notes, basically following the bass notes of the melody, except for right here, a little variation. And this here is just octave jumps. It's not actually, moving away from those bass notes. After that, we add in the bounce snare, just a couple hits, and the hi-hats. So once again, I talked about this in my previous video. I have 2 different open hi-hats, and the reason being it just gives a little bit different texture each time one of them hits. Gives a little bit more variation, a little bit more sauce. So with those added in, oh, and we have an extra perk sound here. 2 perk sounds, really. We can just add all these in at once. After that, we added this snare roll here. And at that point, that's when I arranged the rest of the melody. I ended up coming back, adding some crashes, transition, nothing too crazy. The next piece of sauce was I wanted a little bit more variation. I wanted a little bit more, unique factor to this. So I threw in a perk loop, and I created this perk loop myself. Can open that up. In the pattern here, we have the darker snare, we have the pineapple hi-hat, and we have the rim 1. Okay, again, all of these coming from the Memphis Essentials kit. I made this very simple pattern. You can see it's just a 2-bar pattern. So if we played just this, it sounds like that. Now, before any processing, because what makes the perk loop cool is the processing I did on it. If we take off this and that, it sounds like this. Okay, way too much presence, especially if I took off this filtering here. That'd be clashing. But I threw on a Fruity Delay 2 onto the hi-hat, cut out some of that high end, so we get a little bit more bounce from it. And then I routed the snare and the rim to this perk loop channel, and I threw on this tone flex. And this preset, Perk Loop Maker, is also in Memphis Essentials kit in the tone flex preset bank. So we're just adding saturation, we're doing some filtering, and we're giving like a tape effect on there. Originally, I routed the hi-hat to that too, and I rendered that out, and I did use that in the beat, but then I realized that the filtering completely took out the hi-hat. You couldn't hear it at all. So what I did was I undid that routing, and I left it where you could hear the hi-hat in this hook section here. Okay, so it's still kind of buried in the mix. It's not something I wanted to be super up front. It's just adding some more bounce, a little more texture, and it gives us a little bit more variation from the first half of the hook to the second half. Just adds a little bit more energy. Then we take it out. So then over here in the verse is where I have it rendered out with the hi-hats going into the tone flex as well. So that's what this sounds like. So you'll notice you don't hear those hi-hats at all from the perk loop. But I thought that was a cool little bit of variation. I love using perk loops to add different sections where there's just a little bit more energy, a little bit more texture, and it gives it a little bit more spice. You take those in and out, and it's such a huge difference. Like, it's a small thing. Like, if you weren't listening for it, you may not even notice that it's in there, but you just get the feeling of it. So that's all the elements of the beat. Let's get into the final listen. Section goes so crazy. Get a little let up from the energy right here. You want to see another breakdown like this, make sure you click up here.